Welcome back to Broke Man Finance. My name is Adam, and in this video we are going to talk about CCIV and Lucid Motors. Not too long ago it shot up like a god dang rocket, and since has fallen back to a more realistic number. But what now? Should we be buying all that we can at these prices? If you got stuck buying at those highs, what should you do? What's the next step? What are the pros and cons to investing in this company? What do I believe that share price is going to look like in 2025? We're going to talk about all those things, so make sure you stay tuned until the very end. But before moving on, make sure you slide down to that description box below, and in there is a list of links and is a list of the financial tools that I use on the daily that helps me make and save money. And while you're at it, slide back up a little bit and make sure to hit that red subscribe button so you can hang out with us for a little while longer. Back in January, I did a video on CCIV and felt like they had the potential to run up because I thought, and still do, that they have an enormous amount of potential. Well, they did end up having a run up, and it was one hell of a run up. At the time of that video, they were trading anywhere from the high 17s to mid 18s. A price at the time of that filming I felt was an appropriate price for that stock. A month later, this thing was hitting nearly $65 a share, which created an insane valuation for an unproven company. Once I saw that share price hitting $40, $50, $60 a share, I thought, my God, I know there's people out there buying right now at $60 a share and they are about to lose their beeholes on this thing, but at least they will learn a very valuable lesson. Historically, with these EV SPACs, a lot of times, whether it's an actual merger date or whatever, things tend to drop off. A lot of hype gets baked in, and then all of a sudden, that share price comes tumbling down back to reality, and that's what we're looking at currently. And I know there's some bag holders out there right now that got caught buying in at 60 something dollars a share only to see it come tumbling down. But it's okay. It's happened to the best of us. There is still hope. In fact, there is a lot of hope with this company. So let's look at where I get that hope from, and let's talk about some of those pros. Remember, when you're dealing with an EV SPAC, you are dealing with potential. You're not dealing with a company that is necessarily proven yet. And for the most part, most of these EV SPACs are startups and unproven. So you're taking a gamble on what you believe that potential is going to be in the future. There's not a lot to base it on. However, Lucid has some serious heavy hitters running this thing, and that's not even including Michael Klein and the SPAC. We're talking about two former Tesla executives that is no stranger to the EV space, and as everywhere they have went, they've been successful. So it brought a lot of optimism right off the bat for Lucid. Even Jim Cramer of Mad Money was showing some love to Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson just the other day. Here are some stats that explains why Lucid and CCIV has been getting so much love from investors. Lucid has 403 patents filed. They've got more than 20 million real-world vehicle miles driven, 1,000 plus horsepower, over 500 miles on a single charge, less than 2.5 seconds to run from 0 to 60 miles per hour, which, well, projected, 9.9 seconds to run a quarter mile, again projected, just 20 minutes to charge up to 300 miles with the 900 volt plus architecture. More than 7,500 reservations received as of last month. Over 650 million in potential sales as represented by these reservations. That is certainly a lot to be excited about as long as no articles come out like they did for Lordstown. That wouldn't be good. Right now they are trading for $26.86 at the time of this filming, which is much lower than those 52-week highs, but I gotta be honest, and again, I like to be real, I think that's still a little bit too expensive for me, considering where the company is currently. It's not like they got cars just flying out of the showroom right now. Will they at some point? I'm very confident that they will. I'm not bearish on Lucid. But at those levels, I still feel like there's some hype baked into it. Now, $26.86, $26.86. that's not necessarily a terrible share price for an entry point to get in on. I'm not saying that if you bought in right now, don't kick yourself for it. It's not terrible. I just believe that there's a little bit more room to fall, and there are some levels I think that it could get to, which would make it a much more attractive investment. And if stick around to the end, because at the end I'm going to reveal what price it would need to get to for me to start putting my money in. Now for my concerns, not only for Lucid, but really this affects all EV startups. Some of the big dog car companies are really getting into the EV space now, and they have much bigger pocketbooks than these EV startups, and just like the ones we're talking about, Lucid. This could make life much more difficult for these EV companies to come in and make a splash that hasn't even really started producing vehicles yet. Volkswagen recently announced its ambitious plans to become one of the world's largest sellers of EVs. According to CNN, the German car maker said last Monday that it plans to build 6 gigafactories in Europe by 2030, with a total production capacity of 240 gigawatt hours per year. The article also noted battery cost, which make up a large proportion of the total cost of an electric car, will be reduced gradually by up to 50% in entry-level models and by up to 30% in standard models. 6 gigafactories by 2030. And they're able to reduce the price points of these EVs by up to 50%, then 30%. My God, that is a lot to try to keep up with if you're Lucid Motors or any of the EV companies. Now you may be saying to yourself, but Adam, Lucid is going to be making luxury EVs. They're not going to be directly competing with Volkswagen. And that is 100% accurate. But listen to this. Other well-known luxury car makers have already launched their EV models, such as the Porsche Taycan, the Audi e-tron GT, the Jaguar I-Pace, the BMW i3, and that's not including any of the Tesla models. And not only do they all have deep pockets like Volkswagen, they also have deep brand recognition. That is some pretty strong competition. I feel pretty confident. I can almost guarantee that anyone you talk to, they're going to know BMW. They're going to know Jaguar. They're going to know Porsche. They're going to know Audi. They're going to know these already big brand car makers. But are they going to know Lucid? My point is that these cars, whether it's BMW, Jaguar, whatever, everyone knows that these are luxury brands. But if you roll up in that Lucid, are they going to know Lucid is a luxury brand? I would say no. The majority of people have never heard of Lucid, and they're not going to know it's a luxury brand, at least not initially. And when you're buying luxury brands, you want to be able to flex that luxury brand. Let's be honest. If you had a $120,000 Lucid, you had a $120,000, I don't know, Jaguar, I feel like most people right now will pick the Jaguar because Lucid just doesn't have that brand recognition yet. I'm not saying they can't, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and they can definitely get there, but it takes a while for that to build up. And I think that's going to be a one of their biggest hurdles that they're going to have to overcome over the next few years is getting, like, why spend over $100,000 on a car that no one's ever heard of? Now, I think it's going to be a great car, and once people start recognizing that, I think that's when their company will become much more valuable. But I think it could take a little while to get to that point. Now, as far as the share price, personally, I would like to see this thing get back to the levels at whenever I was making that last video. I'd love to see this thing back to $17, $18 a share. That's when I will consider putting my money into it. If anything under that, I start considering it a very strong buy. And don't take that as I'm bearish on the company. I'm not bearish on the company at all. I just don't think for an unproven company, although it has all the potential in the world, that it deserves to be teetering around that $30 a share mark, even with the pre-orders, because people like to bring that up. And yes, that is a lot of potential revenue, keyword being potential. But once those orders are filled, and I am seeing Lucid cars out there on the highway, I will be much more comfortable buying shares north of $20 of this company. But right now, I'm just not. But once it gets under, I will feel a lot better about it. If Lucid can do everything that they say they can, and there's no delay in that planned execution that they have, then there is no reason by 2025 we're not looking at $100 to $120 a share. This thing could go anywhere from $15 to $30 up per year, maybe more, maybe less. Maybe by 2025 we're looking at $200 a share. I don't know. Obviously, with a little bit of hype baked in, that it can send that share price to the moon. But on a realistic note, I believe they could surpass $100 by 2025. So if you're sitting there looking at an average share cost price of like let's say $60, and you're just completely bummed, I get it. We've all been there. I'm holding a bag on something right now. But it's only a guaranteed loss when you sell at a loss. Now, with a company like this, there are other companies that and sometimes it is better just to sell, plug your money somewhere else that's a little safer, and slowly get that money back. But if I were in your position on something like this, I would probably hold, especially with a company that's got so much potential, and they've already showed the propensity with just a smidge of good news can send that share price soaring on just a little bit of hype. So hold strong. It's all good. As long as they produce and they do what they say they can do, this share price is going to go north of $100 over the next few years, maybe sooner. So just hang in there. It's going to be all good. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Where do you think that share price is going to get to by 2025? Hell, 2022. But I hope those stocks continue to push up and stay in the green. I hope everyone out there stays safe, and I hope you all take care.